Client really should have no interaction with the arbitrator. You don't want somebody who's making decisions about your life to be able to talk to you and then talk to your spouse. You don't know what's being said behind your back. The importance of the arbitration process, while it looks informal, it really is part of the formal process. And as a litigant, you want to know that a decision is being reached that's fair, that's equitable, and that is above board. You don't want to have to worry that the arbitrator was having side conversations with one of the attorneys or with your spouse, because that undermines the entire process. It undermines a litigant's confidence in the process. And that's very important. I mean, there's nothing more critical than knowing that you're getting a fair day in court, even when it's not in court itself. One of the advantages of arbitration is that while you have the rules of court and the procedural rules and the rules of evidence, you can relax them in an arbitration. Now, you don't want to go too far because, again, that would undermine the process, that would undermine the confidence that a litigant has in the process. But for instance, all the formalities that you would need, all the requirements of how to present documents, all of that can be short-circuited and just put in a simpler, less expensive form. So you can lessen the burden to a client as far as adhering to the rules, makes it easier for the attorneys, and it also quickens up the whole process. Arbitration is actually something that must be discussed by every attorney in a matrimonial case with their clients. It's part of the rules. And in fact, when the complaint for divorce is filed, one of the forms specifically addresses that the lawyer informed the client about the availability of dispute resolution, which is arbitration and also mediation. So the attorney must let the client know that it's available. The client will always discuss that. Whether it's appropriate in every case, that's a whole different question. But everybody knows about it when the process begins. Arbitration is having your decisions made for you. Mediation is coming to a joint resolution on whatever the final resolution will be. So a mediator will bring you to an agreement. The mediator is not going to say, here is what is going to happen. Mediator is not a judge. An arbitrator really is a judge. Final decision-making abilities and a final decision will be made by the arbitrator. Again, a mediator can be anybody, doesn't have to be an attorney. Sometimes we use mental health professionals, accountants, people who are just trained in mediation. They should have knowledge of matrimonial law. And quite frankly, to me, I don't know why a litigant would get into, would work with a mediator who is not well-versed in matrimonial law. Sometimes people do. But anybody can mediate. Mediation happens frequently, much more frequently than arbitration, and it happens at different parts of the process. You might have an early mediation on a couple of issues. For instance, custody mediation is a very popular mediation, and that is done by itself sometimes. Just put together the custody agreement and then go to work on the financial issues. If you've already started an arbitration, it's like being in the middle of a trial. That's a road you're not turning back on. So if you don't like the way it's going, that's going to be your problem. You're not going to be able to stop. If you stop and leave the proceeding, then the arbitration will continue. In fact, I've been involved in that. I was involved in one where the person left the country after 8 days of arbitration, and he was never heard from again, quite frankly. All my rulings after that had to come in the face of a person who now abandoned his wife and children, 3 children, actually, in one of the cases. And I had to decide what was to be done with the house, with the retirement assets, how to handle support, which was coming out of the husband's assets in that case. And from what I've heard, it's been about a good 8 years. He's never been heard from again.